Star Citizen can be a confusing and complicated game to get into, but I've been playing for nearly 8,000 hours, and my goal by the end of this video is to give you the tools you need to play and the info you need to see if you want to stick around. So what is Star Citizen? It's an early access but incredibly immersive and virtually seamless sci-fi MMO with up to 600 players per server. There's bounty hunting, mining, trading, racing, exploring, salvaging, global events, smuggling, piracy, and PvP. And this update features the new Hathor orbital laser platforms, which are these insanely cool group events that essentially is like an open world raid. You complete these objectives, you turn the mining laser on, it opens up a cave, you get the rare resources in there, and you turn those to the new alien mission giver. And you can get some pretty cool rewards from it. While I know this game might sound too good to be true, it kind of is. The game has a ton of issues. The good news is Star Citizen has a great community and you'll find tons of people willing to help you out. Feel free to stop by my stream on YouTube or Twitch anytime I'm live and ask questions. So if you're willing to spend 45 bucks on one of the coolest projects in development, or maybe you're a returning player trying to learn the new features of this update, you're in the right place. I've broken up this video into easy to follow segments in the description, and I'll have these progress bars that will let you know how much time is left in the section and when you're at a good pausing point. Let's get started. You can click the link in my description, that's going to give you 5K to start out with and take you straight to the website where you can sign up. It's going to ask you for some details, pause to fill them out. After your sign up is complete, you'll head to the pledge store, and this is where the real gameplay begins. Look at those sweet JPEGs. Just kidding. I'm a huge advocate for buying ships in-game, and it's totally doable now more than ever. There's even ships that you can earn through missions, like the Hathor one I mentioned earlier, or the contested zones in Pyro. But keep in mind, until 1.0, every 6 months or so, sometimes it's a year, sometimes it's a year and a half, the game does wipe, and all your in-game purchases reset, including your money, armor, ships, everything. But if you buy it with real money, you keep it forever. So no matter what you've heard about Star Citizen, there is an advantage to buying ships. I play almost every wipe with just the Aurora MR, pretty much the most basic starship that you can get. And in my opinion, way more fun and rewarding to have that progression. That being said, if you want to pay for my dream game, Godspeed Citizen, and thanks for your contribution. There's lots of ships to choose from, but between the 3 classics, we have the Aurora, the Titan, and the Mustang. It's not amazing, but I recommend the Mustang Alpha for a budget combat ship. Once you upgrade the guns on it, it's not bad. Then the Titan is the king of starter ships. It's a little bit extra, but it comes with 2 size 3s and 1 size 4 gun. And you get 6 SCU of cargo and a bed. It's faster than almost any ship in the game, including the popular pirate ships. The Aurora is the most basic, and we'll be using it today just to show you you can do this tutorial with any ship. Star Citizen is a mainly CPU heavy game, but the better your specs are overall, the better results you're going to get. After your purchase is complete, click download. After you install the launcher, you'll download 4.1 Live. This is going to take a while, it's 110 gigabytes in total. Now would be a great time to pause to let it finish. Go ahead and launch the game, and the first thing you're going to do is go over to options. Let's take a quick look at our graphics settings. Personally, I like doing native high resolution, but depending on your build, you might want to try out the new DLSS features, or FSR if you're on AMD graphics. Aside from that, I like to have my clouds down to medium. This really helps with performance. My FOV is set to 100, VSync off unless you're streaming because it helps with tearing. Film grain, motion blur, and chromatic aberration are off completely. And we'll go over more settings later on in the video, but for now, head back to the menu. There are 2 options: Arena Commander, which is an amazing way to get good and get experience without losing your gear in the PU. The PU, or Persistent Universe, is the main part of the game, and this is where all your long-term progression happens. First time you jump in, it will ask you to build a character. You can take a lot of time building these out if you want. After you're done, click Review and make sure you name and save your design so you can use your characters in future patches. It's also going to let you know that you can do a tutorial. I'm going to be more thorough and teach you how to make consistent money for buying anything you want in-game. Next, let's pick our landing zone. Stanton is the safer and more beginner-friendly system. And then there's Pyro, which has no law and no consequences. PvP is common, and even doing regular missions can be dangerous. I think Pyro is a fun challenge and not as scary as some people make it out to be. But for now, we're going to choose Area 18 in Stanton. Area 18 has a good shop right outside the Habs, center mass for weapons, and it's only a short ride from the spaceport. It's also the closest to the pyro jump gate for when you're ready to take that step. After you're done loading in, the primary interaction key in Star Citizen is F. You can interact with a lot in Star Citizen, including the bed here if you look bottom right. You can press F on an item for its default action, which is usually carry or equip. If you want to do a specific action, you can press F and then right-click while hovering over an item. Once you're done looking around, tap F on the door to open it, head to the elevator and tap F to call it, then select ground floor. Walking around might feel a little slow at first, but if you just scroll wheel up, you'll move a lot faster. If you hold shift, you'll run even faster than that. In game, you're going to have tooltips on by default, and these are on your bottom right. These can be extremely helpful, and they'll change on the situation that you're in. There's also signs in Star Citizen, which can be really helpful. If you're having trouble reading them, you can hold F and scroll wheel in to do a small digital zoom. Global chat is also accessible by pressing enter, and you can toggle it on or off by pressing F12. If you're in the mood for a photo op, F4 is the third person key, and if you hold Z and use your mouse, you can pivot your camera around. Once you feel comfortable with the movement, next let's talk inventory and gear. It's important to know that if you die this update, you do not lose your armor, your weapons, your ammo, your med pins, your tractor beam, or your med gun when you die. So having these things on you is a no-brainer. The only thing you can lose on death is any loot in your backpack, core, or leg armor. I'm going to show you during our first mission how to get free gear, but I'm going to buy this set just to show you how the process works. Anything in the store you can hold F to quick buy, or use the console if you're looking for something specific. Once you're done, head to the item kiosk outside. This is your storage access, and you'll see them everywhere from your hab to your hangar, but your items are only accessible at the location you're at. So if I buy a bunch of stuff here at ArcCorp, I'm not going to be able to use it across the system. I'll actually have to come back here to get it. Hopefully you'll have a little less junk than me in your inventory, but I'll sort by armor and then head to the second page here. I can find my armor and equip it by double-clicking or right-click equip. You can press I to access your inventory and hold I to access the looting inventory. You do have to eat and drink every few hours, so don't be afraid to carry some extra food with you. When buying food, you can tap F instead of holding F to get these items straight into your hand. Then right-click to store. Later, when you're ready, you can press left alt and H to take off your helmet. Or you can press I to open your inventory and then drag your helmet off into your backpack if you have one. Then right-click carry. Then just hold left click to use the whole item. Make sure you put your helmet back on with left alt and H. If you haven't noticed, you have a pretty helpful minimap top left. Let's talk about the symbols above the minimap. The one on the right being Armistice Zone. Armistice means you can't shoot your weapons. And at stations, it's an extra crime to shoot your weapons at another player unless you're defending yourself. On the left, we have monitored space. What this means is that if you commit a crime, attack another player, or do a criminal mission, that means the space government knows exactly what you did and they are going to give you a crime stat. And even go to space jail, which we're going to talk about later on. Let's keep following signs to the spaceport. On your right is the Area 18 hospital, and this is where your respawn is set currently. We're going to keep on following this path, and we should find the shuttle to the spaceport for your first flight. While we're on the tram, let's talk quickly about the radial menu. If you press left alt and F, this brings up a radial menu where you can select every action available to you at the moment. Like for example, if we want to emote at this guy in front of us. So if you ever get confused about a keybind or you want to do a specific action and you can't remember how to do it, you can look it up in the radial menu. And this also works in your ship cockpit. Once you're off the tram, head through customs and you've arrived at the Area 18 spaceport. The first thing is there's rentals at every spaceport. For example, we have the C8R here. It costs $19K a day to rent, and for the record, you can make about $40K per mission using a ship like this. Let's say you're doing an FPS mission and you go down into your bunker, an NPC shoots you and kills you. Well, you're going to respawn on the ship with your gear instead of back here at the landing zone. The one downside is if your ship blows up, it resets your spawn to your home location, no matter where you're at. You could also save your money and just buy one of these in-game for $550K. Next, let's head to the ship consoles, which are known as the ASOPs, or Aerospace Operations Panel, I think. Every ship at the start of the patch is in a limbo state and needs to be delivered once. After that, all your ships are stuck at that location and have to be physically moved or reclaimed if you want them somewhere else. Let's call out the Aurora and we're going to head to our personal hangar. When you arrive, there's going to be 3 consoles in your hangar. First off, you have the ASOP where you can pull out more ships or maybe a ground vehicle, move it to the side, and then load it up. Next, you have your inventory, and this is your final chance to grab anything here at Area 18. Once you leave, all your inventory will stay here. Same thing applies if you buy something at a station or another planet, it will stay there as well. Only way to move it is to physically move it on your ship or person. Which brings us to our third console, the freight elevator. This is used to bring bigger items up and down out of your inventory. You can load up things like ship weapons, components, and cargo. If you're into cargo hauling, you're going to be using these a lot. Now let's head to our ship. You can get into your ship by walking in and tapping F on the door. The Aurora step is a little jank, so we gotta jump in. And here's our extremely spacious Aurora MR. On the right, we see the bed, and underneath you have 3 SCU of cargo. It's a little bit jank to get the boxes underneath the Aurora because of its height to the ground, but it does work if you bring the boxes in from where I crawled underneath at. And you can tap F to sit down in the pilot seat. Now if you hold F, you can see there's a bunch of buttons to press. You're looking for flight ready, or you can hit right Alt and R to flight ready the ship. Now we need to get this door open in front of us. Press left Alt and N, and this will request air traffic control to open your hangar. It's the same button you use to call for landing later. Completely optional pro tip, if you head to settings, keybinds, advanced controls, and flight movement, at the very bottom, you'll see a keybind called request landing. Change this to F3 instead of left Alt and N. Then under cockpit, change flight ready to R instead of right Alt and R. F3 is a free key and R is used to cycle sub-target, which you can still use exactly the same since flight ready only powers on your ship, not off. I promise you'll use flight ready a whole lot more than cycle sub-target. Also, turning your thrust vector indicator or your TVI on always is very helpful. This is your TVI. If you're heading full speed towards a station and it's on the station, you're gonna hit it and you will die. If it's off the station, you're good. If you're not big on the camera shake effects, scroll down all the way to the bottom and turn global camera shake off, G-force induced head movement, and camera movement on boost. Also in audio settings, there's an audio camera shake. These effects are cool, but I personally like a visually cleaner experience. If you're like me, then you can switch them off. Next, let's talk about basic flight controls. Gently press spacebar to strafe up and left control to strafe down. A to strafe to the left and D to strafe to the right. Q and E to roll. If you move your mouse up, down, left, right, this is your VJoy and also how you steer your ship. And the more you move it, the more your ship will pitch or yaw. Now that your hangar is open, press W for forward thrust and S for retro thrust. And finally, press N to raise or lower your landing gear. I'd highly recommend turning on the advanced HUD as a new player. It gives you way better and clearer info. To do this, head to the arrows at the bottom of your MFD. Then on the top right, hit HUD. Here you can enable the advanced HUD on SCM and nav mode. You can also turn this on by default in your game settings here. Let's go ahead and highlight the most useful things about the advanced HUD. Starting on the left, you have your current flight mode. The first mode is SCM or combat mode. And in this mode, you can shoot your guns, missiles, use defensive decoys, and chaff. But you're limited to about 225 without boost and around 500 depending on your ship with boost. In nav mode, your ship can travel up to 1200 meters per second or more in some ships. But closer to atmosphere like we are now, you're going to slow down naturally. The closer you are to space, the faster you can go. Nav mode is also used to see quantum markers and make quantum jumps. But the downside is in nav mode, you can't use your weapons, shields, missiles, or countermeasures. You can switch between these modes by holding B. Number 2, we have our coupled indicator. Coupled means your ship will always return to 0 meters a second, even in space. Decoupled means unless you tell your ship otherwise, you'll drift or fall forever, or until you hit something. You can press C to toggle this and make sure it is always on, at least while you're learning. Bottom left, we have your hydrogen fuel for regular flying and quantum fuel for big quantum jumps between planets and moons. The landing gear symbol here means your landing gear is down, and landing gear down by default means you'll fly really, really slow. You can disable this later on in the game settings, but I'd keep it on now while you're learning. We have our speed gauge and our speed limiter, which you can adjust with Alt scroll wheel. Our height ladder, which using this to fly at 90 degrees will always be the fastest way out of atmosphere. Then we have our afterburner gauge. You can use this by pressing left shift in any direction, up, down, left, right, backwards, or forwards. And you can hold X to use your space brake. The altitude meter, which we'll use in a second to get to 10K altitude, and our defensive countermeasures. And finally, you have your relative altitude, vertical speed indicator, and how dense the atmosphere is currently. Now, with the HUD out of the way, let's do our first quantum jump. We're looking for Badgeny points. Go ahead and start flying towards it. If you can't find Badgeny, go ahead and press F2 to open up your map. Then top left in the search bar, type in Badgeny points. Then hit route at the bottom. On the right, it will show you an estimate of the travel time, distance, and fuel used. With your route set, Badgeny should be the only marker in the sky. Once you're spooled up and above 10K, hold mouse 1 to jump. To slow down fast, you can either hold B to switch to combat mode, left alt scroll wheel to adjust your speed limiter, or put your landing gear down by pressing N. When you're getting close to the station, you can press left alt N or F3 if you updated your keybind. And as you get close, don't forget your landing gear.
Landing gear deployed.
Once landed, press I to turn your engines off. And congratulations, you just completed your first flight in Star Citizen. Before you head inside, to repair and refuel, you can press F1 and then head to the landing tab in your MobiGlass. Click on whatever services you need, then you can get out of your seat by holding Y. The refill and repair will actually complete whether you leave the ship or stay here. Let's head to the elevator, click lobby, and you've arrived at Badgeny Point. Here you can find the ship consoles, small food shops, the hubs where you spawn in when you log in, the transit elevators that will take you to the Galleria, which has a bunch of shops for FPS gear, ship parts, and finally the cargo deck, which has a ton of gear and ship rentals. Last but not least, we have the clinic. We're going to go ahead and set our spawn here. That way, whenever you do go down and have to respawn, you don't have to ride a tram and get out of a big spaceport and take 20 minutes to get going again. You're looking for Olympus insurance consoles. Go ahead and click Transfer Imprint. The clinic also has helpful medical supplies. The Paramed gun is probably the best of all these tools. If you start bleeding or taking too much damage, you can pull out your equipped med pins by pressing 4. Left click to use it. You can use a med pin on someone else by tapping 4 to pull it out, and then right-clicking when you're standing or crouching right above them. To use the med gun on someone else, go ahead and right-click and then hold mouse 1. If they have a tier 3, lowest, tier 2, medium, or tier 1, highest level injury, pull out your med gun with 5 and then press F on the advanced slider. Click auto on the bottom right and this will give you the exact medicine they need for 5 minutes. You can toggle the self-healing mode by pressing B. Just make sure when you're done you switch it back to the basic mode. A good rule of thumb is tier 3s are not a big deal, but tiers 2 and tier 1, it's time to head to the clinic. Just keep in mind of your medicine level. If it gets too high, you'll pass out. Once you're landed back at any station with a clinic, the consoles at the front of the clinic is where you get your room. Lay down on the bed and you can treat your injuries by pressing the treatment tab here. At least for this patch, because you lose so little on death, sometimes it's going to be easier just to hold backspace as long as you're okay with losing what's on you, or you can get back to your body easily. If you're out doing your mission and your ship happens to explode, don't worry, it is not gone forever. After you respawn or make it back to the station, head to the ship console and you'll be able to reclaim here. There's also an option to expedite, but we're broke so we're not going to do that. Next, we're talking about the MobiGlass, and this is your cell phone in Star Citizen. Tap F1 to open it up and get to your home page. On home, you can see current missions, invites, your crime stat level, and who runs the system you're in. In this case, it's the space government or the United Earth Empire. Next, we have your ship info, including ammo, fuel, and distance from your ship. Bottom middle is going to be your surrounding environment stats, including gravity, if it's safe to breathe without a helmet, pressure, temperature, and even radiation. On the right, we have your health status. Up next, we have the health tab. This is a more dedicated version of all your health info, and will give you current information on your medicine and injuries. After that, Comms is one of the most important apps in the MobiGlass. Comms, you can see your channels, including global and party chat. Under friends, you can call for landing. Under that, you have a list of your friends who are currently on and offline. To add friends, you'll have to go to the main menu and search their name in the top right. On the right, you have a member list of whatever channel you're a part of. In this case, it's the server since I have global selected. You can right-click their name and add them here as well. Invite to party, channel. Under manager, you can change your global chat to completely off, change chat color, and even mic settings. The next app is Contracts. Contracts simply let you make money in Star Citizen. Next up, we're doing our first mission. Look for Protect Site Trial Contract. This is an FPS mission where a friendly bunker has been taken over by criminals, and our Corp security needs your help to take them down. Next, we have the map or the star map. You can access this at any time by pressing F2. The map, when you first open it up, is a zoomed in version of the minimap. To get to the full-size map, you'll have to zoom out with scroll wheel. You can hold mouse 1 to spin around and mouse 2 to pan. If you double-click a location, you can focus on it. Also, don't forget about the search bar, which is really helpful. It will take a while to memorize locations, but once you do, this will get you anywhere in the game. When you double-click or hover over a location, if you're in a ship and you tap R, you can set route from here. Journal is where lore and the system laws live that you're currently in, but the journal goes mostly untouched. Reputation we'll talk about in detail after our first mission, but this is where you can check out how long till your next mission upgrade, reputation bonuses, and if an organization hates or loves you, which can affect your available missions. If an org hates you, they will not give you missions. Wallet is where you can send money to anyone in the game for a small fee, and landing is where you can repair and refuel after a mission. Vehicle Loadout Manager is where we apply our ship upgrades. Keep in mind you can only apply an upgrade if the ship is stored and the component is in the same spot. When you buy a weapon or component, it's going to show up on the right here, but it will only appear if it's compatible with the weapon slot or the component slot that you've selected. Next up, we're doing our first mission. Head to your ASOP and let's pull out our ship. We'll go to our hangar, and before we take off, let's talk about power management quickly. This is a super simple breakdown of what that means for this patch. On basically every ship in the game, you only need one cooler and only one power pip in it. Then you want to focus on putting power in weapons and shields first, then boost. Your power should look something like this. Basically, this will give you the most weapon shots, shield power, and boost. This honestly needs a video of its own, but this is most of what you need to know. With your power management set, you can call ATC. Once you're out of your hangar, we're looking for the yellow mission marker. You can switch to nav to spool for our jump. If your mission is out of sight or you can't find it, you can press F2 and either click on the mission tracker, then set route, or you can type the mission location in the search bar. When you make your final jump and you're on your way into the bunker, you can press tab to highlight the ground. This is a scanning ping and is usually used to reveal hidden objects, but it is also helpful for not hitting the ground. You can switch back to SCM mode by holding B. You're going to want to do this when you're about 5 kilometers out. Your mission here is to clear out about 10 NPCs, and some of them will be on the outside of the bunker. And there's no rule saying you can't shoot them with your ship, so right-click to activate precision mode. Normally, this is used to target a specific part of a big ship in space combat, but it's also really effective for shooting ground targets as well. You can update your untargeted convergence range in the settings to about 100 or so to make it a bit easier to hit these guys since you can't target them. Press L to turn on your lights and just scan the ground to make sure there's no extra NPCs lurking around for when you get out of your ship. When you're this close to the ground, just do small adjustments to avoid hitting anything. Once you've taken them all down, you can go ahead and land, make sure your landing gear is down within, and you press I to turn your engines off. Now every enemy that's on the ground that you took down, their loot is up for grabs. Sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to see, but the easiest way is to approach from the side their head is facing, then tap F once you see the prompt. You can equip anything by left-clicking or hit the Take All button. If there's extra ammo or items that you want to carry on you, you can press left shift and click and it will move it to your free inventory or backpack if you have one. Then you can press tab to switch to the armor section of their loot, and also make sure to check their core and legs for loot too. If you start bleeding or taking too much damage, you can pull out your equipped med pins by pressing 4. Left click to use it. These are one-time use, so you will need to restock them. You can press left alt and 1 to consolidate all of your current mags. This will even get rid of your mags you're not using anymore. Basic controls for FPS is right click to aim down sights, left click to fire, R to reload, and Q and E to lean. And if you get in a pinch, you can middle click from melee range to take an NPC down. And mission complete. Make sure to look around for lootable boxes. They can have weapons, attachments, armor, and medical. Completing the mission is going to give you rep with ArcCorp security, meaning the more of these missions you do, the higher level you'll be. You'll get harder objectives, and you'll get paid more. This is basically how it works with every mission route, whether it's mercenary, bounty hunting, or even hauling. Other ways to make money include salvaging, which you can save up to buy a Vulture for just under 2.7 mil from the Loreville Ship Shop New Deal. It's easy, low risk, and a very chill way to grind money. Another really great way to make money is Vaughn missions. The downside is they're high risk, high reward. Just like bunker missions, you'll have to earn rep by killing smaller ships and working your way up to a master assassin title. The bigger ships in these missions are usually carrying contraband, which you can sell at the no questions asked terminals, like Grim Hex, Brios Breaker Yard on Daymar and Crusader. The semi-risky part is you'll get a crime stat, because these are technically space security ships transporting unlawful goods. So you'll have to work out of a criminal station like Grim Hex, and you'll need a multi-tool and a large ship with cargo. A great ship to work towards for this would be the Drake Corsair, and you can get this for about 6.5 million, or you can go for the RSI Constellation Taurus for just over 8 million. Speaking of crime, let's go over the criminal system super quick, and then we'll go to our final section, flight combat. Usually when you do a mission like Vaughn, or you accidentally shoot a friendly guard on a mission, your crime rating will go up. With a crime stat 2 or below, you can quantum away and the station will forget you ever attacked it in just a few minutes. Crime stat 1 and 2 are payable at the admin on stations. At level 3, you're supposed to have a player bounty automatically put on you. Currently, PvP bounty hunting missions are broken, but having a crime stat will still highlight you to other players as hostile, stop you from gaining lawful missions, and also lawful stations will shoot you on sight and turn you away. Every station, even criminal in the game, has soft armistice zone, meaning there's no FPS combat, but ship combat is allowed if you're protecting yourself. Even a criminal station like Grim Hex will not allow you to just freely shoot other players there. The turrets will turn on you. Lawful stations are pretty safe, so it doesn't happen often, but just keep in mind you can be shot by other players until you've landed in your hangar. If you do get a crime stat and sent to prison by a station turret or a security ship, you'll end up in space prison. Let's talk about how to get out of it. Hello and welcome to Klesher Rehabilitation. If I head out of my bed and into the middle of the room, you can see the console in the middle will tell you how long you have left in prison. Now to get out legally, you need merits. How merits work is 1 merit equals 1 second in prison, so 3,600 equals 1 hour. You could log out and just wait for the timer to run down. Your timer does go down while you're offline. But what if we don't want to log out? So the second thing you can do is head to the work mines. Here you can mine rocks and turn them in just around the corner of Route 1, 2, and 3. The rocks you're looking for are green, Dulvine, which is okay, and Hadanite, which is really good, and you could mine your way out. But there's actually a much easier way to get these gems. Keep on heading down the tunnel till you get around depth 8. All the area past this in the cave is going to have no comms. Now you might have noticed there are NPCs walking around. Walking up to them, middle clicking on them, and taking them down to take their resources would be a crime, but here in the no comms part of the cave, you can just loot them off their body after knocking them out. Keep on running around looking for NPCs and rinse and repeat till you filled up your backpack. When you have enough, head back and follow the exit signs all the way till you get to Route 1 again. Here you can turn in the gems. And just like that, we've done the right thing and earned our way out of prison. When you exit prison and you go up the elevator, you'll wake up at Everest Harbor, which is the planetary station around Hurston. And our final section, let's talk about the very important ship combat tutorial. Let's head back to the menu and open up Arena Commander. This is going to be the fastest way to get the basics down, and you're going to learn 100 times faster than someone practicing in the PU. Go ahead and select offline, and then for the game mode, Pirate Swarm. You can really do any map, it doesn't matter. This next part really needs a video of its own, and in the description I put a link to the Urkel.Games Loadout. This is an amazing tool made by a community member that shows you weapon and component stats and where you can buy them. For now, let's just get you a basic small ship loadout. For shields, you can do 2 Targas and a single cooler, which will be a vapor block. You can get both of these at Grim Hex at Dumpers Depot in the PU, a Lumicore power plant, and a Zephyr QT drive. These are both available at Crusader, Orison, Cousin Crows on the Cloudview platform. And finally, you can get your weapon Attritions at the Central Business District. This is in the city Lorville at the planet Hurston, and you can get there from the spaceport by taking the green line. But here in AC, you can rent all of these with Rec by just scrolling through and clicking Rent. If you're low on Rec and cannot afford these rentals, you can always play Gun Rush or Team Elimination, which are the FPS modes to earn Rec quickly. I know it just sounds like I gave you a huge chore list, but upgrading this stuff will make PvE and eventually PvP so much easier. Attritions are slow, which means they're a little bit harder to hit than a laser repeater, but they hit a lot harder, and that's why I picked them. The trick is to strafe into the pip, or predictive impact point. You can press T to target and you'll see the pip around 2 to 3 kilometers. All the pip is predicting where the enemy ship is going to be based on their movement and your movement. So fly towards them when you're shooting them and boost away from them when you're dodging enemy shots. You can also right-click for precision mode. Instead of aiming at the pip, you'll target the part of the ship you specifically want to hit. The downside to precision mode is obviously situational awareness because you're so zoomed in, and also it slows down your rate of fire so you do less damage over time. Think of space combat in 3 inputs. Input 1 is forward and backwards, W and S. You want to be within 1 kilometer of your enemy to hit shots reliably. You can even practice this by not shooting and just practicing the distance you need to be from the enemy. Distance management is a skill in its own. The trick is to keep your target in view the whole time by using W and S, and keeping them in that range that you can always hit them effectively. Input 2 is evasion and accuracy. Since your movements affect your enemy pip, strafing towards the pip, either up, down, left, or right, can get you more accurate or less accurate. This works the same way when dodging enemy shots. Strafing away from the pip will make you harder to hit. Input 3 is Q and E to roll. Ideally, you want the pip either at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, or 9 o'clock. You want to strafe into any of those, but personally I prefer 12 o'clock. This takes some practice, but here's an example of how to use it. Holding a strafe as I approach an enemy with A or D. Then use W or S to get within 1K of the target while still holding your strafe. Once there, use your pitch and yaw to keep the target in front of you. If they get too close, hold S, and if they get too far away, hold W. When you're out of ammo, start strafing away from the pip and holding S to disengage for a second while you get your ammo back. Option number 2 is strafe towards the pip while closing the distance until you've run out of ammo, using your side strafes to just keep your enemy in front of you while you're shooting them. Once you're out of ammo, hold forward and boost to shoot past your target and start turning around immediately. By the time you and your enemy are back on target, you've recovered ammo and you can start shooting them again. Light fighters, it takes about 6 seconds to fully recharge your weapons and 5 seconds to start recharging shields. One of the big tricks here is just never sitting still and letting your opponents get free hits. The big mistake I see a lot of pilots using is using their boost before they even get into the fight. Save your boost for when you need it for defense, or you're trying to really get on the pip because you know you can kill your enemy. If you have a missile shot at you, you can tap H or hold H to release multiple decoys. The lower your signature is, the harder it is for a missile to hit you. The components that I suggested earlier should get your base signature down. Chaff is your other defensive countermeasure. It's a masking cloud that covers the area you dropped it in. This can be a great way to get away if you're overwhelmed by too many ships. What you want to do is start slowing down, then press J to release your chaff. Immediately hit B to switch into nav mode. And if you have any remaining boost, now is the time to use it. 180 in the opposite direction you were going, and by the time you've cleared the chaff, you'll be in nav mode and you should be able to get away safely. If you want to shoot a missile back, you can middle click to get into missile operator mode. First thing, you want to make sure you are in the right range to shoot a missile. Then you can scroll wheel to change the type of missile, and press G to increase your missile count up to 4. Left click to fire. When you're at a safe distance, you can either QT jump away if you're in the PU, or switch back into SCM to regain shields and head back into the fight. All of these things are going to take some practice, but you should be able to clear the first 3 to 5 waves of Pirate Swarm even in a starter ship. And that is it. Congratulations on finishing the 4.1 guide. If you have any other questions, I'm happy to help when I'm here live on YouTube. If not, pop by the Discord, the link will be in the description, and tag me and I'll do my best to respond ASAP. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.